Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. All right, so buckle up for this one. I've got the King of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, the 4 of Swords, the 9 of Cups, and the 3 of Wands. So I feel like we're talking about a married man here. This is somebody with commitments. This is somebody with responsibilities. I feel like there is a family here, maybe like a property. Somebody here is like really buckled into something. And I've also got a card here that says overwhelmed. The stress from this is draining me. Commitment. I want you to be a part of my future. Destiny. I'm struggling to find the right path. And reciprocity. I want to have an equal give and take. I feel that this man is in a certain situation because of some type of obligatory energy. It feels very traditional. And I think that he has made a decision that this is what he wants for himself. And this is a genuine part of himself where he feels like, he takes it very seriously, taking care of his family. I think that's where a lot of his pride comes from as a person. He might be very good with money and bills and resources and things like that. But here comes the Justice card. Kind of karma is coming and knocking here. So I also feel like he's taking on maybe more responsibility in this than he should, because it seems like he's carrying things here for other people. And I do feel like it's going to lead to some kind of like burnout, or there is a part of him that's like kind of dying in this particular setup. And it feels like a part of him that like is more free. It's not bogged down by tradition, because it doesn't feel like love is what, it doesn't feel like that. And honestly, I am trying to get to like the bottom of this. Like, what is this? Like, where are we starting from with this? And he's kind of being like a brick wall where he's not really saying anything. But when I am saying like, I really don't think that this is built on love. I feel like this is built on tradition, responsibility, some kind of like materialism, like material gain. There could be some kind of material gain involved in whatever this is. Now we've got the Moon card coming out here. And I do feel like there is some kind of shame. Oh my gosh, the Sun card came out right after it, in having this illuminated. There is some kind of shame in having this illuminated. There's also, this is kind of a part of this man's subconscious. So he's at war, like the conscious parts of himself, and the conscious parts of ourselves are the parts of ourselves that we like and that we claim and that we own and that we want to be known for. And I feel like that is this King of Pentacles energy. This, I'm a family man, I'm traditional, like, that part of it is, a part of this man's conscious identity. But there is this subconscious part of him that maybe has a different perspective, but I think he feels like he knows that he would be like mobbed up on or something if he had if he actually followed that path. And so because of that, I feel this man feels confused, and that's this Destiny card. I'm struggling to find my right path. And so he's trying to maintain some kind of semblance of control. And I think he's trying to put on some kind of like hard shell and hard exterior, but he's feeling tempted here by something with the 7 of Cups that just came out. And the 7 of Cups it's a very confused card. Obviously, it's a card of like having options, but a lot of times like the 7 cups I've heard them be connected to like the 7 deadly sins. It's greed, lust, sloth, all the other ones. And so the best move a lot of times with the 7 of Cups is not to do anything and to like find your own inner like temperance card, really, your inner temperance, and to allow the dust to kind of settle so that you're no longer confused, because it feels like kind of temptation energy, but he's trying so hard to maintain some kind of control. And it's coming through with the Justice card. This does feel kind of karmic, having to do with this decision in the past, because I feel like it's unearthing that maybe this decision was unjust. There could have been like greed, motivated this even in a subconscious way. And I am kind of feeling that energy around a pregnancy here. And there was this one astrologer, I read her book a while back. I can't remember exactly which book it was, but I'm pretty sure it was a book on Pluto. And she had talked about, having read charts for over, 20 years, that she said, this isn't me saying it, but she said she no longer believes in like accidental pregnancies, because every chart that she's ever run for a person who had that experience, one of the 2 people had an active Pluto at that time. And Pluto is the planet of secrets and the subconscious and control and strategy and possessiveness, And so, and also like transformation and Pluto ruling over the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio does rule over like money after marriage. So there's sometimes something like hidden here. And I feel this person doesn't want to admit that. They don't want to admit that there was some kind of motive here because it's subconscious. And I feel this person by spirit is being asked to make that motive conscious, their shadow part of themselves. They need to look at, there was some type of corrosive desire in getting themselves bogged down into some kind of like, I'm hearing early commitment. So maybe this was like rushed or, and there was like a decision here. There was a decision to take this on. And it feels like this persona of like this King of Pentacles kind of energy. It also feels like there's maybe a brotherhood here because I've got the Emperor and I've got the King of Pentacles and I've got the King of Wands that just came out too. And that's like, there's a lot of men here and like one is the Emperor. So this could be like a father and like, I don't know, 2 sons. And maybe there's like been some discussion about this, but it's in order to maintain some kind of control and possibly some kind of image. But it does feel this has been placed on whoever this King of Pentacles is. Now, what is disturbing me about it is we do have this King of Wands energy that's just come out. And this King of Pentacles does seem to be torn here between this path that feels like it's already chosen and already committed to in a way, like the ink is signed on documents. There's a family, there's a house, there's burdens, there's like real life here, and like some kind of other path. And it's because it's the subconscious that's like coming up where this is a man who has just not looked at his subconscious, has just not allowed it to ever occur, has not allowed it to ever happen. And I feel he has met, it feels to me like a woman, like I want to say another woman here. And now we've got like this lover. So it's giving this like, it is kind of a temptation here, but, and I feel like this is a very sweet person. Like whoever he's met is a very like innocent, fun-loving, sweet. And it's like, to him, it represents the opposite of this like King of Pentacles energy where everything's like so weighted down. This feels like fun and like free and, like not, it feels like new maybe or fresh and just natural kind of in a way, where this doesn't feel necessarily natural. And that's where like the shame comes up because I think there's an admission that he's not in the relationship he's in. He's not in the situation that he's in, the commitment that he's in, the life that he's in because of any kind of love. It doesn't really represent him. And so it doesn't feel like his destined path. And, there's a part of him that still hasn't given up on hope of actually finding something and even someone that feels like destiny. And I feel like maybe spirit has introduced him to someone where there is now this like kind of karmic choice. And maybe this is the soulmate. Maybe he got into this partnership, but there does feel like a rush to this. And I feel like actually this is where things get kind of strange because you would think that maybe like this marriage situation is the anchor and that this other situation is the temptation. And maybe that is how it goes. But I think that there was actually temptation here regarding this commitment to begin with, like in the past. And I think if you don't peel back the layers of the onion to this whatever situation he's in, if you don't peel it back, because he was like maybe very confused and very dazzled by something here of like, it feels like there was a real picture painted for this guy, you know, and it was maybe by an emperor. So it could be by culture that affected his mind and his brain came up with, you know, well, I'm going to be this and then people are going to respect me and love me. It feels like I just heard a corrosive identity crisis that is kind of like attached to this. And it's being worked out like a splinter in the psyche, like worked out to the surface and he is healing, but he's not aware of it. And so I feel that, he's met this like other person. It feels like this other lady and he feels that he has successfully hidden from her that he has this other situation, but I don't think she's speaking to him. So I don't know if he's as slick as he thinks that he is. But he wants a lot from her. Actually, he wants her to do it. Not necessarily. It's like, he wants a conversation with her, first of all, that's like loving and equal and give and take. He wants a relationship with her. And that's like this other side to him. And this doesn't feel fair to me. And that's also why I don't like, we got this King of Pentacles and we got this King of Wands. And the King of Wands, a lot of times for me with the salamanders, that finally like the tail kind of goes all the way around. It feels like a completed plan a lot of times. I feel like he's got some type of completed plan or completed strategy. And I think it involves keeping this very sweet person that he's met that feels like home or feels like destiny and I, even if you are this other person, I'd be very careful with that because it could be just this comparison of opposites. And if he got himself out of this situation that maybe doesn't feel natural and he was alone for a while, would he be as attracted to you? You know, or is it just what you represent because of the situation that he's in and you're kind of this counterbalancing force? I don't know, right? And so this entire situation is very confusing because of the way that this man has gone about living his life. He has now become this kind of unstable variable for a lot of other people in their path, in their life story, because he is so confused. And he's confused essentially because he won't unearth his shadow element of there's some path not explored here. And it feels like the path of freedom and like being very casual and just like not kind of forcing things. Yeah, it's like led him to confusion. And I think this seems to be a guy that comes from some type of expectation on him. But anyways, there's this other lady, and I'm wondering if for some of you are this other person, but she's not speaking to him, and he wants a relationship with her, which isn't fair. And he wants a conversation with her, but she's not communicating with him. Why is she not communicating with him? Okay, well, the five of cups came out. So I'm not sure that he's hidden this the way that he thinks that he has. It seems like she's grieved this situation or he's hurt her in some way. Maybe it doesn't have to do with this family situation. Maybe she doesn't know about that, but he's hurt her in some kind of other way where she's, I think, definitely aware that there's something hidden here. There's some kind of strategy, and there's something that he definitely could have fixed with her, and he did not do that. He didn't take the initiative here. And I think that's because he's too busy carrying these like burdens, and he's like living in confusion. He's got so much going on in the background, but she doesn't know that. And so she thinks it's definitely within this guy's capability, if he wants to pursue a healthy, equal conversation or relationship with her, that there's something here that he could fix that he didn't fix. And so I think she's grieved that. And for some, I don't know where she's at in the process here. This also feels like, sorry if you can hear that in the background, it sounds like somebody's cooking something up, which may be relevant here. Somebody's cooking something up. But it feels like now we've got the Wheel of Fortune card that just came out. So the hand of God is in this, in her finding something out, grieving something here, having some kind of knowledge. Oh, it's a spiritual inheritance. So this is somebody who is like, has actually refused some kind of temptation. And that might even be in this situation where something didn't feel right to her. And she said no. And she noticed something and she actually didn't operate from the subconscious in order to, because I think something here looked like Venus on the surface. It looked equal give and take. He looked nice and well-rounded and everything. But there's something moving beneath the surface. And I think if she was desperate, or if she was like him in her psychology, then she would have just repressed it and like gone into a relationship with him. But she didn't do that. And that feels rewarded here by spirit. Because there is some type of spiritual inheritance, and it could be because she did that in the moment. It could also be because she just has really good karmas in some way. She works with spirit is what I'm getting with the Three of Pentacles. There's teamwork here, but it feels like teamwork with spirit, and potentially some kind of King of Cups figure, which might be a guide. But it could also be, because the King of Cups, I'm kind of getting this like very loving, fatherly energy that's very compassionate and soft and sweet and like loving. And I think that's also what she wants. She wants a King of Cups, like for herself, but also for any family that she creates. She's not interested at all in what he's got going on over here. And if she knew that he was that type of guy, she wouldn't be interested. And I think he knows that. And I think there's a real crisis for this man of who am I? And so he wants to reach out. And I feel like he has been doing something here, but it doesn't feel direct. And he's waiting for his ships to come in with her. And I feel like his ships that he's waiting on coming in with her is a conversation and, again, some kind of relationship. And so he's really torn up inside about what he should do. Should he go after her? Should he not? And he is he's dealing with all of this like beneath the surface here, and there is some type of stagnation, and he wants to, I think, like go after her. He wants to offer her something, and that is a very karmic choice. Is he going to offer her something real? Or is it going to be something, but it's going to be, she's going to be hidden, or like, and she doesn't deserve this. Nobody deserves this. Nobody that he's dealing with in such a manner deserves this. Even him, he doesn't deserve this. But definitely like this woman that he's married to and whatever family and whoever, these people don't deserve this. But he kind of knows that he's going to be in hangman energy. And I read something really interesting about the hangman the other day, where somebody was saying that in the world card, which has not come out, but in the world card, which obviously is like the completion of the major arcana, the woman figure in that she's like dancing, her legs kind of mirror what the hangman's legs position is. And I was like, yo, I never thought about that or noticed that. And so there's a recognition that it is the hanged man that will go on to be like in the world card, and that the hanged man has not yet brought forth like what is within him, because his hands are not like yet shown. But also he got like, from this perspective, he got hung on that tree by like some mob that didn't understand, like his perspective, but he has a different perspective. And it feels like his perspective is different than whatever traditional perspective he was grown up in. But he's going to catch some kind of flack for it. So this is like the karmic choice of, are you going to say that, well, actually, I view this kind of differently. You know, the nuance matters here in this family situation. I feel burdened. I can see that this person takes on more than they're supposed to, like for other people. And that they are overwhelmed by like this commitment that they've already made, or maybe they're in their head about making this commitment. I think they've already made a commitment, and they want reciprocity here. And I think that that's what they felt. They felt that reciprocity energy here with this person that they met. And this was a very fated meeting. And they daydream and they reminisce about this person all the time. Like maybe there was some inside jokes here. I'm always longing for you. But they're afraid of what other people would think if they made the decision that their heart wants. And so they stuff it down in some way, and they maybe keep themselves busy, or they surround themselves with, like I said, there's this like brotherhood energy of people that also think that they should do this. But it feels like this person lives a double life, because there's some kind of wish fulfillment in keeping this other person like in the dark about what they've got going on here. That's what they want. And they have whatever this wish fulfillment is, it's very worldly. Like they want something for themselves in a worldly way, but then they also want the spiritual fulfillment here. And so that's what, I never really finished my sentence about this, but that's what kind of disturbs me about this man that's coming through, is he sees himself genuinely he sees himself full stop as the King of Pentacles, when he's not. The King of Pentacles wouldn't be doing this, because he's not actually the King of Pentacles, or he's not just the King of Pentacles, because there is this like King of Wands energy here, and it needs to be balanced out. It feels like it needs temperance energy of like balancing that out on the inside, doing the shadow work and coming to some kind of accord within the self of who you are, and having the courage, strength card. All the fire is like now coming out, because we do have the Emperor here. So that's like the grand fire trine. This person needs to like engage with those energies, the temperance of balancing something out internally, and then the strength, the courage to actually be who you actually are. And that feels like that would connect this man with his dharmic path. And it feels like time is an element here, and it feels like confusion is, and it feels like the fire energy is really lacking, because he refuses to, there's like a chain of events here. He refuses to dip into his shame that there's no love here. So he's got an agenda internally. He's got motive to say that he loves this person and that he's chosen this life. He wants to be seen in this way. He wants to have the fruits of this. He wants to have maybe like the stable family, he wants to be looked at as the King of Pentacles, but this isn't real. He's built it with somebody wrong for him, and he knows it on a deep level. He knows it. But he doesn't want to kind of come up and out of that. He doesn't want to be non-traditional in some way. And he's afraid of what people are going to think if he's himself, and says, and brings any actual conversation of feelings into this, like what he feels and what he wants. And he may have been the one to initiate like every step, because maybe there's some kind of wealth or something here that's like attached to this person. And so I think he maybe feels responsible for there's something karmic about this decision of what is he going to do? Is he going to reach out to this person? Is he going to offer this person something? Is it going to be real? Because then spirit's going to involve here as well. But I think if he doesn't reach out, then he's kind of responsible, and he feels the burden of betraying this person that's sweet and innocent, didn't deserve this, doesn't know that any of this is going on, because it feels there's something else here that he did, something here that is wrong, that he should have made right with this person, and he didn't do that. And so he's going to have that on his conscience, and he's going to carry the burden of that, of causing some kind of painful ending here with this person who is genuinely, he's interested in, his heart is interested in, and there's a genuine friendship between the two of them, and an ability to communicate, and he's not using that. And instead he's just continuing to stuff things down in his subconscious, and expecting, it seems like, the women in his life to really carry the brunt of him. And he says he's confused. No, he's not. He's a coward. He's not confused. He's a coward. And I mean, I say that with a lot of empathy and compassion, because he's in a pickle. He's got a lot that he would have to confront here, but he's not confused. No, he's not. He knows he wants out of this situation, and that doesn't suit him. But I think he feels some level of responsibility of having created this. And he created it from his subconscious. And he's surrounded by people who have these kind of viewpoints that he actually disagrees with. But he's got to step into this hangman energy of being blamed, of having this different perspective, of seeing the world differently, seeing some kind of situation differently than the people around him, and seeing it differently than maybe he saw it before. And I feel like there's tower energy in this, where he's going to have some type of realization, some type of epiphany that's going to clear up his confusion. And it is going to learn, he's going to learn. It's going to teach him something, because he's coming from a real place of pride and ego and control and wanting to have everything his way. And he's engaged in relationships. That's at the heart of this, is there's relationships. The relationships with this person here that he feels a connection to. There's no worldly desire here for connecting to this person. It feels like the heart. What the heart is, like the child inside, is going towards this other person here. And somehow this is unearthing the shame, what's hidden. It's unearthing what is hidden, and it's bringing it out into the light of day. And if he is going to make some kind of wrong move, I feel like Spirit is ready and waiting to bring in some kind of tower moment, so that the people here get to make their own choices, their own decisions. They get to see him in the light of day and make their own decisions. Because it feels like this man's got a habit, because of this disagreement that he has internally primarily. And it's also a disagreement, I feels like, with his male peers and with the people that surround him. But I feel like it's women that are taking the abuse of this. That's women that are taking the brunt of this, and that are pawns in their game, and are not being looked at and treated as human beings and with empathy. And I think it's even this person that has this family or whatever that he doesn't want to be with. And he just feels tied there and responsible. And what he wants from that situation is everything. Oh my God. I just heard everything but her. He wants all the trappings, and he wishes that belonged to him, and that he could just take it from that situation and kind of move on. And who knows if he would even go back to this other person, if he could just be on his own, because it feels like this man needs to spend some time exploring himself, and figuring out who he is and what he wants. And he needs to spend some time doing that. But it feels like time's a real factor here, because time's gone on in this situation. It feels ridiculous for him to bring up to this person, hey, I never wanted this. And this person's going to be we've been together for however long. What do you mean you don't want this? And a part of him did want it. So that's kind of a lie, but that's, again, he doesn't want to have to say, I'm greedy. And what I wanted was, to be seen as a King of Pentacles. And potentially she has, or her family has, some kind of wealth or prestige. And he wanted that as well. And he didn't want to work for that himself. And it feels like with this other person, maybe they both had nothing, but they understand each other, and they would have to maybe build that up. Yeah. This is hateful. He's confused. He's a person. He deserves compassion. But I just don't like that. I don't like the delusion here, because he's seeing himself as the King of Pentacles when that's not what's going on here. It's not that he doesn't have that in him, and he has that beautiful side to him where I think he does take it very seriously. Again, providing for, taking care of a family. I think that's genuinely important to him. It's just, it feels like he built in the wrong place and for the wrong reasons. And that was encouraged, if not enforced. And maybe that's another thing that he doesn't want to confront, because there is an Emperor energy that stands over him. That is kind of the cause of this confusion here as well. I don't think that's another thing with the feelings, where I think this Emperor, whether this is a father figure or culture or just expectations, he's never been allowed to feel anything, because he's really not allowed to make his own choices. I think that's another thing that he's scared to confront, is he doesn't feel allowed to make his own choices, because he navigates everything by being judged. It feels like by the male set, by a specific male set, this Emperor and this other King of Wands that's around. It could be his family members. It could be, yeah. And he wants their acceptance more than he cares about the women in his life, for sure. And more than he cares about truth, and more than he cares about justice and fairness, and more than he cares about figuring out his own feelings and figuring out what he himself actually thinks about something, because he doesn't fit this mold. He doesn't fit this archetype, not in the way that it's currently. And it seems like maybe for some, I think maybe this man got married young, and it's he didn't have, in psychology, there's a lot of talk of the period of emerging adulthood between 18 and 25, and just studies show that people who take time to adventure and, learn and build themselves up, then, and they don't make like these heavy decisions before 25, they have happier results that they're more satisfied with. It feels like he didn't give himself that time period of, and I'm just going to kick it. I'm going to take a year and I'm going to backpack across Europe, or I'm going to figure out who I am, or, I'm going to do seva in a monastery. Or he didn't do anything like that his heart was actually calling him to do. So this is just a man who, I think has never really listened to his heart. He doesn't know. And I think that's part of the confusion too. He's never, this is sad, because I feel like he's never once followed his heart. And so he doesn't know where that path leads. He doesn't know if it ends in disaster because he has no experience doing it. And it seems like even if he tried to go down that, it wouldn't even be a neutral experience, because he's got everyone around him saying that what a fuck up he is and how stupid he is, and that he's held to this certain standard or whatever. He's just not allowed to explore, is what it feels like. And so there's maybe some rebellion here. And I think this other person like kind of represents innocence and childhood and sweetness, and is that in a lot of ways. But she's also not speaking to him. And she's got her heart blocked off. She knows she can't see something here, but her intuition is telling her that's the right thing to do, is to block off from him. And she's in some kind of other relationships and conversations. And that could be with friends, where she's like got friends around her that she's hanging out with. And it also could be that she is dating somebody else, or she's got suitors or something like that. If so, I'm kind of getting a Knight of Cups with that. And it just feels, cause she's coming through like a Page of Cups. So it feels like somebody kind of like her. I think this person's like charming and nice, and who knows if that's like where that's going to go. I don't know, but it seems like she's protecting herself from what she doesn't know about this man. Because I think he did something to her, and I think she can see the strategy in it. And, she knows there's something here that she doesn't know. And I think Spirit made damn good and well sure that she saw at least enough of that. Because, and then that means that she's got to make a choice, and that she's not just kind of blindly having an experience. It means that she's got her wits about her, when dealing with this guy, and she's meant to. And so I think she's made the choice that has led to some level of spiritual inheritance here, actually. Yeah. I feel this man feels that something didn't go his way, and that he feels like he was left out in the cold, when really he left his morals out in the cold a while ago, and is just receiving what he gives out in the world. He wanted to like be in charge, keep things in control, and breadcrumb in order to have his cake and eat it too. And that would be his way of quote unquote exploring this other path, except it's not real. If he's not going to go give his whole self to any one path, then he doesn't really know that path. And so, and I think that's the injustice that's maybe been done to this lady that he's met, that feels kind of more like a soulmate to me, honestly, than whatever he's got going on, is that he's never given her what she deserves. And he's always lied and said that he gives the impression that he can give her the King of Pentacles when he's already giving somebody else the King of Pentacles. I just heard somebody doesn't even like that much. So he's unavailable to give her the King of Pentacles, but has decided that that's what he wants to do. So he can clear all this up, but he just doesn't want to have to do the things that it would require to gain some clarity, and also to be fair to everyone involved. This is also, clearly the women are getting treated a different way than the men here. And the men, it feels like it's not even their lives, where it feels like it's very much the women's lives. Yeah. So he leaves when things get hard is what I'm getting. So he's never fully explored this path with this soulmate. Is what it feels like. Because he's got this excuse to leave when things get hard. I'm hearing, where do you go when you're gone? She also doesn't know where he goes when he's gone. But she doesn't care, because she knows that he's not truthful. And I think because he's unwilling to admit that he's a lie, the entirety of him is a lie, then he's like, well, why isn't she speaking to me? That doesn't make any sense. She doesn't know this, or she doesn't know. She absolutely does. His behavior is weird. His behavior is absolutely weird. He's not coming across like a single person. And maybe he's, I don't know, for some, like he's been in a relationship since he was young, so he doesn't know what a single adult looks like, you know, to be in conversation. He's not coming across like a single adult. This doesn't add up. And he doesn't think that. And so he's like, he thinks that he's successfully hidden something. And I think maybe he has the details of it. And maybe he hasn't for some. But she knows enough to keep herself safe here. I feel like there's this underestimation of the feminine that really comes through with this man. Because there's something he doesn't know. And I think he doesn't know the subconscious. There's something here about the lay of the land with his situation that he doesn't see. And he'll see it in time. And it's linked to his subconscious, whatever it is. And I actually think it's hard to say what the root is, because the root is like courage, because this man, it feels like he won't even explore his feelings unless he has courage, because he doesn't have the courage to stand up to these other men around and to say, well, I just disagree with you. I didn't want this. I mean, a part of me did want this, because I feel like he needs to say that. Part of me did want this. I wanted to be the King of Pentacles. It's just, you pushed me into the wrong situation. You didn't encourage me to look at my feelings and to actually figure out what I wanted. And so I felt pushed in this situation. And I don't know, I think he's got to be careful about this, because it's not like he can blame other people, but because a part of him did want this, but he wanted all the material aspects of it. And that's not the right reason. And he didn't have anybody around him saying that's not the right reason. And it could be because they benefit in some way. But it feels like something here is a pretty permanent decision because of some kind of traditional beliefs. But it also feels like maybe this is a situation where they pick and choose their traditional beliefs. So for instance, like maybe if there was, like, say there was an accidental pregnancy here. Well, they were having sex before marriage. That's not a traditional belief. And so they pick and choose. And then it's like, oh, well, somebody got pregnant. So now we go into our traditional beliefs. Before, we had a nuanced discussion. We weighed our desires and the cost benefit analysis. Before, there was some type of equation that went on for both of these people, right? But now there's no equation. You know, and it just, to me, that just reeks of Pluto, where it's like, no, you just didn't want to have to think about it, you know, and you wanted this and there was some other reason that this person wanted this. I don't know. It just feels like there's something going on here beneath the waters. And it feels like this man doesn't have strength, like the strength card, like internal strength. And he doesn't have a courage of figuring out who he is, what he actually wants, and actually bringing that forth in the world, because he'd have to stand up to people and he'd have to maybe be hung upside down on a tree by a mob. And he doesn't want to do that. So instead he does this weird two-faced thing, and it's okay as long as it's, I think, women and children that are the ones that, because I don't think he'd do this to a man. Anyways, I think that's Soul in the background, which is my little boy cat, which is the sun energy. So philosophy, health, clarity, around confusion and what this confusion is. Because I don't think this man's actually confused. I think that he doesn't want to admit that he's a person who got himself into a situation over greed and is staying in a situation because he lacks courage. And I think he's a guy who it wouldn't take him long to know what he felt and to know what he wanted, and that he would just have to be strong. And that to me feels like the karmic balance here. Anyway. I think that he just doesn't want to have to confront that's the reality of him. He would much prefer to say, well, I'm just this king of pentacles, and so I'm so confused because I feel this thing for this other person. No. It's like romanticizing it. I think he went after somebody for greed. Okay, so anyways, that's what I have for you. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.